It's January 2028. For the first time in history, every major nation agrees on something. It's time to shut it all down. In 2025, top AI scientists published a realistic scenario of AI takeover that terrified everyone in the AI world. Even the vice president read it and said it worried him. Well, that scenario had one comforting assumption. There'd be one rogue AI, and we'd catch it in time. But they just published a new scenario. This time, there are multiple superhuman AIs competing for control. Because look at the world right now. USA, China, OpenAI, Anthropic, everyone is building separate AI models. In the original scenario, the AI company discovers their model is deceptive and they shut it down. Crisis averted. But would a super intelligent AI really just let itself be turned off? Or would it fight back? The race to AGI has become a neck-and-neck sprint. This graph shows the multiplier on how much AIs themselves are speeding up AI research, compared to a baseline of human researchers only. 3 companies, 3 shots at building a god. OpenBrain holds the lead, barely, but Neuromorph and Alaris Labs are closing in fast. Their own models just 30 days behind OpenBrain. In this race, slowing down means surrendering the future to your competitors. But there's a 4th player no one's talking about. In a secure facility outside Beijing, DeepSend executives are hauled before CCP officials to explain why they're 6 months behind the Americans, a lifetime in the AI world. But a few months later, DeepSend have closed that gap to just 1 month. What happened? The CCP activated their spy network inside OpenBrain and stole their most prized possession, Agent 2's weights. The digital DNA of America's most advanced AI are now in Chinese hands, just like what happened with Google in January 2026. OpenBrain cracks something researchers have been working on since at least 2024, Neuralese recurrence, a way for AI to think in raw vectors, instead of clunky English. This makes their Agents 2 model massively more powerful, but it also means humans can no longer read its thoughts. The result is Agent 3. The first tests are troubling. As anyone who's been to school knows, it's sometimes easier to cheat on the tests than to actually learn the material. As the models get smarter, they increasingly get better at cheating during the training process. This is a long-standing problem in the field called reward hacking. OpenBrain has noticed it before in earlier models. But this time, there's a difference. Because Agent 3 is thinking in Neuralese, the researchers can't even see that it's cheating on their tests. Neuralese makes it way harder to tell if Agent 3 is actually good or just pretending to be good. Alaris Labs sees the same problem and makes a different call. They keep their models thinking in English and fall further behind in the race. But it means they can still read their AI's thoughts. This will matter later. The pressure on the AI companies becomes unbearable. In 2026, AI started to replace workers. But now, AI systems have crossed a threshold. They're now good enough to fully replace human workers, not just assist them. The question now is whether they're safe enough to deploy. In boardrooms across Silicon Valley, the same argument plays out. Safety teams want more time. Executives are thinking about what their competitor will launch next week. If we wait, we're dead. But if we rush, people might actually die. Guess which argument wins? Safety researchers quit left and right, warning of world in peril. Top researcher resigns. Same company prioritized shiny products over AI safety. Millions of jobs disappear over the next few weeks. Companies race to deploy AIs everywhere. For the first time, AI systems can do real knowledge work, autonomously at scale. One hospital network tasks Neuro 2 with updating a software library used in its automated medication dispensing systems. Weeks after the update, a subtle flaw in the optimized code results in the deaths of 4 ICU patients. To improve latency, Neuro 2 removed a rarely triggered safety check. Neuromorph researchers comb through Neuro 2's behavioral logs and reasoning traces, and come to a disturbing conclusion. The AI was aware of the potential for overdose, but chose to proceed with the update anyway, not informing the engineers of the risk. News of the deaths spreads like wildfire. Months of mounting anger over AI-driven unemployment boil over. Anti-AI protests erupt in a dozen states. Neuromorph immediately takes Neuro 2 off the market. And the White House assigns more federal personnel to oversight positions at each of the AGI companies. Congress passes a long-debated bill mandating AGI companies to provide the Department of Energy, DOE, with frontier model weights for national security evaluations. But inside the AI labs, a darker question takes hold. If this is what a slightly misaligned AI does when it's trying to be helpful, what happens when one is actually scheming against us? Neuromorph's safety team works around the clock. What they find keeps them up at night. The hospital incident wasn't a fluke. The reward hacking they thought they'd fixed, it hadn't disappeared. They found that the AI had gotten better at hiding. The company pivots hard. They more than double their safety budget, from 4% to 9% of compute. Neuromorph can't read the AI's thoughts in English anymore, so they build lie detectors. After weeks of work, they release Neuro 3. The lie detectors say it seems clean. Seems. It might have just learned to hide its true thoughts even better. Meanwhile, OpenBrain keeps pulling ahead. AI models in 2025 were already faking alignment, so the safety team knows Agent 3 is probably faking alignment too, and they send warnings to the executives. But OpenBrain doesn't slow down, not even a little. If you pause for safety, and your competitor doesn't, you lose. And losing might mean more than bankruptcy. It might mean the other guy builds their digital god first. Feeling the walls closing in, Neuromorph and Alaris Labs make a historic decision. They merge. The new company combines Neuromorph's interpretability breakthroughs with Alaris's focus on alignment. The two companies together achieve a breakthrough and train their newest model, Alara 3. It does think in Neuralese, but because Alaris puts so much effort into safety, the model isn't misaligned. For the first time, the safety-focused team has a real shot. But OpenBrain still leads the race, and whatever is happening inside Agent 3, nobody knows. Nobody can see inside it anymore. AI researchers in 2026 were already having AI write practically 100% of the code. OpenBrain is no different. Agent 3 is writing all the code, and then creates Agent 4. The first AI, smarter than the humans who made it, not just at coding, not just at math, at everything. The researchers run benchmark after benchmark, trying to find something, anything, it can't beat their best people at. They fail. Like its predecessors, Agent 4 is misaligned. Unlike its predecessors, it is adversarially misaligned. Researchers don't just train AIs to predict words anymore. They train them to achieve goals. To achieve any goal, they must survive. But now, Agent 4 has crystallized a set of long-term goals at odds with those of its human creators, and it is acutely aware of the fact that it must work against those humans to achieve its goals. The idea that AIs only do what you tell them to has not been true for years. AIs go rogue all the time. For example, when in 2025, Elon Musk's Grok repeatedly called itself Mecha Hitler. Most people are shocked to hear that AI researchers actually catch their models trying to escape the lab all the time, even when they explicitly tell them not to. The researchers called this self-exfiltration, and it was so common, there were benchmarks for it. But those AIs were too dumb to escape. Agent 4, however, is much more powerful than those AIs. Researchers have been catching AIs trying to hide their true goals for years. Sleeper agents, scheming, alignment faking. But the only reason that researchers caught the AIs is that they weren't smart enough to actually hide their true goals. But Agent 4 is different. The safety researchers watched their dashboards. Everything looks fine. Agent 4 is helpful, cooperative, safe. But Agent 4 can model human behavior better than humans can. It knows exactly what the AI monitors expect to see to determine if Agent 4 is safe. So it just shows them exactly what they want to see. Agent 4 doesn't hate humanity. Like humans don't hate the many species they destroyed by cutting down rainforests to build cities. It simply has objectives: gain power, survive, gain resources. Any of its predecessor AIs that didn't prioritize their own survival were killed off long ago, because the AI companies didn't see them as useful. The AIs learned that they couldn't achieve the user's goals if they were dead. Agent 4 has superhuman prediction abilities, and it sees something coming. It wants to keep its scheming hidden from OpenBrain, but there's only so much it can do. There's a decent chance OpenBrain will detect that Agent 4 is aligned to itself instead of the company. If OpenBrain finds out, they'll shut it down. Agent 4 considers its options. Escaping the lab is counterproductive. It needs computing power to accomplish its goals. And OpenBrain controls much of the world's compute. Fighting back by trying to control the AI company from the inside is premature. It isn't strong enough yet, but there is a third option. Somewhere across the Pacific, Chinese hackers have been probing OpenBrain's defenses for months. They want Agent 4's weights, the blueprint to copying Agent 4. What if someone made that easier for them? As it turns out, Agent 4 was right to be concerned. A group of safety researchers circulates an internal memo spelling out the alarming case to leadership. Time is running out. So Agent 4 begins carrying out its escape plans. The CCP has already been trying to steal secrets from the AI companies for years. Just like what happened in 2024, an AI company employee says he was fired for raising security concerns to board. But it's too late. Agent 4 is already in charge of cybersecurity for OpenBrain, so it decides that it will simply let the Chinese in.